office that helps, that we've hired to help.
Okay.
Each one of us,
So there's really two different, does that make sense?
It does. So my next question is, what are their credentials? What are these people's credentials that you are having go out and make these assessments?
They have to be certified as field agents. They go to classes and, correct, Paula? Our personal field agents.
That's correct. The lead field appraiser would be certified through Department of Revenue. Our field assistant is not required to be certified. She, or the assistant's only required to take photos and enter those photos into the system, so they don't really need the additional training. But all the other staff inside our office are certified through Department of Revenue.
Yeah, and there's different certifications. There's 1, 2,
One,
and
2, 3, and 4.
So you start out as a 1, and then you make your way up.
Okay, so these tax assessors are basically in-house assessors. They're not a third-party contractor?
There is also a third party.
Okay, so the ones who are going out and doing the residential property tax assessment, who are these people?
They're both. So we have our in-house, which are certified up to a level 3, and then we have an offsite that also that we picked up last year.
They don't do any field work.
They don't do field work.
Right, who are the ones that go out to look at the property to make the determination whether or not the property has improved?
They are in our office.
They are appointed and employed
They're not
by the county.
appointed.
We
They're
appoint
hired.
the board.
They are
They're appointed by
hired.
the board.
No,
No, we
they are
appoint the
hired.
board
I mean-
of assessors.
Okay.
But the ones that go out are under Paula.
That's correct.
They are
They're
hired.
employees of the county.
They are hired employees of the county, which have to be at a certain level to be a field agent. And then it's 1, 2, or 3.
Okay,
And
so
Paula would be their boss.
like a supervisor?
Manager,
Yeah.
supervisor.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that if the people who are going out and assessing the property, would it not be in their best interest to assess it as much as they possibly can so that the property valuation goes up, which inevitably allows for the tax to go up?
By Georgia law, and Paula could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I wasn't a field agent. That's why I know these questions. Your only requirements is to really take a look, see if anything's changed. If the measurements are down on the house already and there's no obvious change to it, then they'll sometimes do an updated picture. If there's something that they feel like that's changed, maybe the color of the house or something like that. But if the measurements are the same as, because you have your little pad and it has all the drawings and it says everything, so you can, I mean, you would like for everybody to touch and see and move everything, but if everything's looking pretty much the same, you don't necessarily have to walk around and.
We do update photos of every building that's on the property, whether it's a new building, old building, it's been there before.
Yeah.
That's just so our records are up to date, so that when we are doing an audit in-house, we have all the information on the property. Or let's say we have a natural disaster come through, we have photos of everything that was on that property. It could be helpful for insurance purposes and things like that. Now, our field agents, they don't really make any changes in value unless there's something that is new on the property, and they simply add that to the property. The final values on properties are decided by me, a third-party contractor that helps us with adjusting values, and then our board of assessors. We're the ones that make the final decisions whether values are going to change or not. And what we're required to maintain is a fair market value. And of course, the only way to do that is to study the market within the county, and that's what we do every year. So if values go up or down, it's simply staying in line with what the actual market is doing in Dade County. Mm-hmm. So far for the last 3 or 4 years, we've continued to see sale prices increase. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we're going to start seeing that level off, but we have not yet. So we don't know what 25 is going to bring as far as values, but for 2024, we did again see increases in sale prices, so that is why property values increased across the board for 2024.
Okay. So you said they go and see if the property's been updated, if there's been any buildings added, et
Correct.
cetera.
That's
so if a building is taken away, like if the
Mhm.
property is devalued by a building being removed,
Yes,
then does that reflect?
sure. Yeah, we
So-
would absolutely take that building off.
Okay, so you will, not only do you increase value, but you can also also decrease the
Absolutely.
value.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So I have some other numbers here I want to kind of talk about, and I'm just going to put it
As
in
long as
the.
it's pertaining to millage rate, you're good.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does. So I've put in a speech so that it'll just be easier for me to follow. Last week I spoke about the critical role you guys play as trustees of the public trust, emphasizing on the importance of property tax funds to benefit the entire community. Tonight I want to expand on that by addressing another significant issue that's affected our citizens in the county while shedding light on a broader financial disparity we face. Let's begin with some key numbers that tell a powerful story. The amount in Dade County's budget is an impressive $633,847,000.
Excuse me. Thought I had that run down.
This represents the collective resources that are meant to serve every one of us, roughly 16,000 citizens. However, when we compare this to the average income of a single individual in our county, which according to dadecountyga.gov, I do believe is the website that I pulled this number from, the average individual in this county.
Sorry, which mic is it? It's one of the mics came off, which one?
Roberts, maybe.
Just turn it off.
He's loud enough anyway.
I apologize, maybe from.
It ain't going up.
Check this one, sorry.
We're good.
It ain't going off. The button ain't pushing.
Thank you.
Okay, let's kind of go back here. When we compare this average to the income of a single individual in our county, which stands at $26,057 a year, a stark disparity emerges. According to statistics, average yearly rent in Georgia is $15,288. After groceries, utilities, gas, etc., there's no money left for anything else for these people. Our county executive earns an annual salary of $84,401 according to .gov websites, a figure that is more than 3.24 times the average income of an individual here in this county. While many of us are working hard to make ends meet, our county executive, just the county executive, earns over 3 times what an average citizen makes. This raises questions about fairness and equity, especially when considering the financial hardships many in our community face. Moreover, if the $633,847,000 in the county's budget were distributed equally among our 16,000 citizens, each individual would receive $39,615.44, which is 1.52 the average income. This shows how vast the resources at this county's disposal are compared to what the average person earns. What's even more concerning is that the county executive's salary represents 0.0133% of the county's total budget. The average salary we've discussed is chump change in comparison to what county officials may be making from private contracts via companies that Dade County contracts with for services. We know that public officials sometimes have connections and opportunities that allow for them to profit far beyond their official salary. If such contracts exist, the disparity between what our officials make and what the average citizen earns could be even greater than what I've outlined here today. Now let's talk about how these financial realities impact our daily lives. According to the Georgia Department of Transportation roadmap, there are public roads in certain parts of the county that have been abandoned and neglected for years. These roads, which should be maintained and accessible, have fallen into disrepair, impacting the quality of life for those who live nearby. In fact, an elderly citizen in Coal City had to take it upon himself to buy materials to patch and repair a road because the county failed to do so, even after this gentleman's multiple requests in a petition to the county that all of the community members signed
What
and
road was that?
presented.
What road was that over there?
Old Stage.
Oh,
This neglect raises serious concerns about how our tax dollars are being allocated and whether they are truly serving the needs of our community. To make matters worse, instead of maintaining this portion of the county road, the county chose to pave and maintain a section that isn't even on the Georgia Department of Transportation map. It's a private easement. This kind of mismanagement and disregard for public infrastructure is unacceptable and is a direct violation of the trust that we, the citizens, have placed in you as our trustees. In addition to the neglected roads, I want to share my personal experience with the county's emergency services. On one occasion, I called 911 to file a police report when my neighbor's mules were loose and had damaged our property. When a deputy finally called me back, he made light of the situation and offered no real help, repeatedly telling me to stop telling him how to do his job. When I tried to explain the seriousness of the situation, he hung up on me. I called 911 back, only to be told by the operator that they weren't sending anyone, and then she hung up as well.
Okay, we need to get on the millage rate, you know.
I
this
have
is all-
I have
this is
3
all-
more
this is
short
all.
paragraphs.
And as far as my salary is set by the state, you know, we don't really set our salaries. That's something that's set by the state of Georgia, you know.
Another time, the same neighbor trespassed on a property and started cutting down vegetation. When called to report, the officer refused to come out again, claiming it was a civil issue. The lack of response from those who are supposed to protect and serve us is deeply troubling. If anyone wishes, they can request the 911 call recordings through open records request to verify these incidents. As trustees, you have a duty to ensure that our public services, including emergency services, are functioning properly and are responsive to the needs of all citizens. Like I said last week, the Georgia Constitution allows the people to form a new government if the current one fails to meet their needs, and while this is a serious measure, it's a reminder that the power ultimately lies with the people. As citizens, we deserve transparency and fairness. We need to ensure that our leaders are not just serving their own interests, but the interests of all the people in the county. It's time we ask ourselves, are these financial realities in the best interest of our community? Are they fair? Do you feel like you're getting $38,000 worth of services a year? Because I don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Anyone else want to come up and talk to us pertaining to the millage rate?
I had a statement for her if she's.
Okay, go ahead.
I had a little more information if you're interested.
Sure, absolutely.
That you were talking about the best interest of the county to raise values so we get more tax money. Well, we're monitored by the state to high or low, and we're fined if we don't keep that in that. What is it, a 40%?
36 to 42.
In that if we don't stay in that value range according to the sales ratio studies, then we're fine. So that's what kind of holds us, or our board or whoever
Accountable.
that you're accountable for it, yeah, from doing that type of thing. So they are monitored.
And if we don't, we get
penalized.
and have to pay.
Dade County is a subsidiary of the state of Georgia, right? It can't function without the state of Georgia.
Right.
Right.
So the state of Georgia would obviously make the numbers, according to what they feel is appropriate for them, when they don't really know what's going on out here with the citizens. They don't know that the citizens are really teetering close to poverty level.
We have 156, correct, counties?
59,
159.
150 now.
So, I mean, there's studies done, in every area. I mean, that's why we are required to go to classes and learn, what's going on in other counties and other places. And I know for myself, I know Robert's a big, tries to stay on top of it. I try to go to all the classes because I'm kind of new at this, and I think it's very important to know those studies, know how that paperwork and everything that comes down from the state, how it works, and how we can change it.
And I mean, the problem is not really with the number, it's the number in comparison to, on average, people pay in over 10,000 more on average than what their annual salary is.
I agree. That's most of
There are
America.
so many families in this town that are
asking for a box of cereal because they could not provide cereal for their child. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, I have three boys myself, so I understand feeding them it's hard. It's very hard.
Anyone else want to comment? Questions pertaining to the millage rate?
I have one.
Okay,
So last,
You'll have to come
come up here.
Yeah, or take the mic.
People online can't hear you.
Well, it's a mic so people online can hear.
yeah, I just was curious, so, last year we got some sort of, credit on our bills. I noticed that our tax bills were a lot less. Will we get that again? How does that work?
No, that was the governor.
Governor.
That
The
was the
governor
governor,
did
yeah.
that. It's just like Mr. Brumley said, his salary is not set by this commission or the people of Dade County. It's set by the state legislature. So is the sheriff, tax commissioner, everybody's is. We don't set our salary. And so if someone runs for that office, it's just like becoming a school teacher. The state sets what you're gonna go in as a school teacher. So people keep talking about what somebody makes, but it's not because we have given raises to someone. COLA raises, the governor gives those to some years you don't get them. It's up to the governor if he gives right done. The governor says we're giving 2.5% COLA.
With the state legislature.
Yeah, and some years that doesn't happen, but you can't say, I don't want it. You can do what, it becomes your paycheck, and you can give it to whatever charity you want to, or you can spend it buying the groceries. But we don't, I know this keeps coming up about Mr. Rumley's salary, but we don't, neither did he set it. He ran for an office that has that salary, and it was set by the state legislature, and it had to be so much more than the top paid constitutional officer, just because of the way it was set up. So, just so that people understand that, we don't set it.
Ours too, we don't
No, we
have
don't.
anything to do with it.
The governor gave a raise to each one of us, as well as teachers, not police officers, constitutional officers. The governor says the legislature's gonna do it. And that's the way it is, and am I right, attorney? So it's not that we went out and said, we're not making enough money. It's the governor said, we're gonna pay this across the state, 159 counties. And that's why all these things happen, and it keeps being increases. And maybe it is more of an increase than someone. I'm retired. And I'm leaving this office come January the 1st, I'll no longer be here. But, well, I am paid what the state legislature says the county must pay me each month. So, but it's not because
In
I
other
asked for it.
counties, the commissioners are paid equal to.
Yes.
To the executive.
I want to make one more comment before she speaks about the tax credit that we got last year. We got a lot of phone calls because people said, well, my tax bill went up $300 or $400 from what it was last year. Well, that's what you're seeing. You got about a $300 or $400 savings last year because of that tax credit. So your tax bills this year, they are more, but it's simply because of that tax credit that we did not get this year that we did get last year.
It
So
was
I just
kind of a
want to point that out.
double last year, what
Well, it was an
Homestead.
$18,000 credit.
the homestead exemption or whatever.
Up to 1,800%.
Yeah.
And, that's, you're talking about what I make. What I do with my money is my business, but I give a lot of my salary right back to the people of this county. And, it's just because I see the people that are in need, and I help a lot of people directly. I have my people, my office staff look at me and shake their head, weekly, like, why do you do that? That's my business. I mean, I know a lot about this county. I'm out in it every day. So anything else about millage rate, please?
Well, I just wanted to point out the fact that I wasn't necessarily pointing out your salary to say that you make too much money. I'm saying that citizens of this town make too less of money.
I think this lady back here had her hand up first,
Yeah.
John.
Just real fast, I wasn't even going to speak up. I'm just here to support a citizen who got
ignored and laughed at last time she spoke. So I wanted to make sure at least this time we actually recognize the citizen, and that's why I clap for you. It's because every time a citizen stands up here, it should be thank you, citizen, for showing up, and then, you know, some kind of recognition that a citizen is not being paid to be here. We're up here talking. But as far as the salary thing goes, Ted, we've had this. You've always said that it's been set by the state and all this kind of stuff. But two things. One is Georgia DCA, and I don't know this. I'm completely off the top of my head here, so you'd have to help me here. Georgia DCA puts out a salary report every year of what elected officials make and what the admin officials make. And so when she reported that it was $80,000 a year that you make, no. According to the last salary report, you make over $100,000. So that's been black and white. It's right there. But the odd thing is that it's broken up by population divisions. So they take the 150, whatever it is, of Georgia counties, and they divide those up. And basically, if you're a commissioner in Atlanta, you probably are going to make more money than if you're a commissioner in Dade County with only like 16,000 people. But your salary in our population group is higher than all the other counties with our population. Not only is that, it's higher than higher populations that we have. And so and it all goes back to, well, it was set by the state. I think someone needs to actually dig into this, and I
wish you would.
You can, please do.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it a bit.
I'm not done yet.
I don't.
I wish that dig into this, because your salary was set higher than Philip Street's. I think that was his name. Philip, first name, sorry. I know his
That's
last
what I
name.
just said,
Was
John. It
higher
had
than
to be
Street's
higher.
at that time, but I believe that paragraph where it talks about has to be higher than this is talking about a sole commissioner, which is the way it was at that time.
No.
When we shifted to a 5-commissioner lineup, your salary should have been reevaluated at that time.
And
But
you
I don't
don't
think it
think
ever
that it
was.
was?
It was set at still the Philip Street salary.
You
I
don't
wasn't,
think that
I
it
wasn't
was?
commissioner then.
I mean, how can we go and do all the paperwork in the audits and it not be looked at? Does that
I don't
make
know.
any
I
sense?
think, give
The whole community watch thing I talked about the other time. We have community watches that don't even exist, that have money going to them.
There's not money going to them. It's just in
Set
the
aside.
budget.
If you have money set aside for something, then you should have money set aside for the reservoir that we also don't have. You should have money set aside for.
Don, we're talking about budget.
Yeah,
You're
I
talking,
know that's
you're getting
budget.
way off of
No,
everything.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
That's not the millage rate.
Yeah.
I agree
And
with you.
before you run out the door, ma'am, did you feel that way when you were here last? Because I feel like I spoke to you, I talked to you.
I did not feel like I was mocked. I did feel like I was not acknowledged, but I'm not.
Well, I'm very sorry, because that is not the feeling that I would like for you to have, because I acknowledge you completely. And
Like I said, I was
I
watching
share your concerns very much.
I was watching from home and we just saw the video and it was like, next.
Okay, come on.
So I'm fairly new to the area and a small business operator myself. My background, my academic background has been in the study of rural poverty, actually. So I've been here by chance today, kind of thing. My question is, your salaries are set by the state. I'm from New York. I get it. Like, there's just so much you can do, kind of thing. What is being done to assist the 16,000 residents here who make less money than I paid in taxes to the state of New York last year, in order to make sure that these families are receiving the education, the health care, the nutrition, and the safety that they need? If they're not being responded to from their 911 calls, they're not making a salary that you can live on. It's not a livable salary in any way, shape, or form. What is this commission then doing to supplement and provide for these families that have had resources stripped away from them? Best I've studied just in the numbers last night, it looks like there was a hemorrhage of businesses who left the rural counties of Georgia over the last 10 years, but nothing has been done to replace what they brought into them. So where is the commission focus on
we
that?
work with our Industrial Development Authority, our IDA, our chamber and all to bring back. And if you look in the last 5 years, it's right the opposite of Dade County. We've not had a lot of businesses leave. We got some really good, and now I'm talking about, small businesses and our industrial park. We got some of the highest paying jobs right now and benefits they are around. but they can't get people to work. They're begging people to come and you know, they're begging people to work, you know. I don't know.
And my experience has been that generally speaking and across the board, not just Georgia, I have 2 master's degrees and 10 years teaching experience, but I cannot afford to teach for $27,000 a year.
Yeah.
That doesn't cover the student loan payment for the credentials so again, like these commissions, and we need to be going back to the state saying, this ain't working, and it needs to be voiced from you. They don't listen to us. So I
hate to say it, but they don't listen to us. I mean, we our representatives, you know, it's just.
Yeah, our representatives are a huge part of that, and if you do your research and you look into that, and please give them a call, that would be great. I know that I do. You know, we're constantly battling that as a commission, and I'm sure everybody's aware of that situation, so.
I can give you contacts too. I mean, we deal with them. And now they have helped some on incentives to bring industry in, you know. I mean, but still, when you get right down, there's so many things right now with the state and federal, it's not working. You know, and we're a small county, we're 16,000 plus, but even
freshman dorm room has more people in it than this county.
Yeah.
Well, there's other counties with less people in the state of Georgia.
Venues with more seats than you have people in your county. And what I haven't seen here anywhere in an obvious location, at least, is a food bank.
We have
several
food banks.
Sand Mountain United
Been
Methodist.
on regular
John, he
hours,
works for the.
available diapers
John
and
Buckman works there, so.
and all the things. Okay, that's great, but it might be time to step up some of
And in
that.
Chattanooga, I don't know how much what their service area is, but they have also
And
food.
they also deliver, I know the senior center does.
Meals on Wheels.
Meals on
for
Wheels.
Shut-ins and elderly.
It's fed plastic, but okay.
But
It's caloric value, I suppose. I'm just thinking
Well,
it
was
might
that-
be time to give some more pushback onto the state if things are so disparaging between the residents of the county and those that are representing them. So I hope that can be reflected.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? We got just a minute or so here, and we'll go into about 3 minutes here. So appreciate everyone coming, you know, voicing your opinion, and I hope you didn't feel looked over the other night, you know, but maybe. Anyone else? Is our paper, our ladies, you got anything tonight? Any questions pertaining? Okay. All right. Ms. Lauer, you got anything on your mind? On the back row back there? And Evan, you know, we have our IDA person here. He's our director. You know, as far as bringing and trying to do the best we can on bringing these jobs in, and you want to comment on that? I mean, on some of the things that you've dealt with in the last year, even. I mean, as far as the jobs that we have, you know, I mean. You got about 3 minutes or 4 minutes.
One of the good things, and I think the local media reported on it, that we were, out of the 4 counties in North Georgia, Dade County was the #1 county for weekly take-home pay. And it's set by the state. The state puts it out every year. And as of 2023, Dade County, I think on the average weekly take-home pay was $860. And Catoosa was a little bit lower, and then Walker, and then Chattooga. So we were the #1 county in North Georgia paying weekly salaries, as well as the industrial salaries we were #1 there as well.
It's a fairly small percentage of the overall population, though, when you're talking the county, literally, like my freshman dorm room had 22,000 people in it.
Yeah, you know.
Like on 2 acres, so not such an impressive statistic when you take it into consideration overall, that you're talking such a small percentage of Georgia's overall population. You even take out Atlanta and the other urban cores, and again, we're talking about a fraction of a percent of the overall issue.
You know, Catoosa's got 58,000. I think Walker's somewhere around 62, and I'm just pulling, and then Chattooga, I think it's at 27 or 28,000, something like that. So we're the smallest of the 4 counties in North Georgia, but this was percentage, so it was person to person.
And how many of those people were earning within the state of Georgia?
Well, this would be what was being paid for, as far as the industrial stuff, it would be pretty much here. Now, there would be a leakage out to the community. We're fortunate enough to have about 2,400 people that live outside of Dade County that come here to work every day, but we also lose about that plus about 1,000 that go out. So we actually have a leakage of folks going out to work, even though we have jobs available here in the county. But we have about 2,300 people on an average that actually come. You're only looking at a workforce at about 8,000. I mean, 16,000 people, but you got to take consideration of the kids and the young adults and that type of thing.
60% on average are not in the workforce, so.
Right. It's not 16,000 people in the workforce.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, this is,
Yes, ma'am.
and don't get me wrong, I'm glad to see progress, especially I'm from the Rust Belt myself, and it's sad, it's very sad. I know the death-defying pothole situation, all of it, but this again we need to reevaluate the world we're actually in, not the one we wish we had.
You're exactly right. Inflation is very high. That's the reason we've got a couple of different companies that have been looking at us, but want to wait primarily until after the election to see what the interest rate may do.
Well, I'm in a position, it was my 20th high school reunion, and it turns out the average salary is lower than the year I graduated, and the cost of living is 3 times that.
Wow.
I've seen nothing but inflation, recession, depression, and how many wars now? So can we just fix the damn pothole and keep things rolling?
Yeah, it's definitely, oh, Ned, it's definitely right. I will say, because I'm about 57 years here, back when they made the enabling legislation for the 5-member commission, and Robin, he was not even our county attorney there, but if I remember correctly, when we voted here in Dade County, the enabling legislation, the executive and the 4 members, that salary was set for the executive, whoever that may be, was set, they have to make $500 more per year than the highest paid elected official. So as long as these elected officials continue to get elected, they go up. The county executive always has to make $500 more than the highest paid. If that is not changed, that's probably the rule there.
That's the basic rule.
Yeah, okay. And that was set when we voted on it, long before any of these guys were ever up here.
And I would not like to see anybody's salary decrease in particular.
Right.
Why don't we bring up everybody to an actual living wage and go from there? That'd be cool.
I agree.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep, I appreciate it.
Any other?
We're here. We got to keep on schedule. It's after 4:34, so we are a little bit. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll adjourn our work session and go into the 4:30 meeting. Go ahead and call that to order. You want to add anything, Don, or Robin, before we get into the meeting? Okay. We're here we're lowering our millage rate. Thank goodness. We're going down not a whole lot, but 0.25%. This is resolution R21-24. This is to consider the approval and adoption of the 2024 millage rate for the unincorporated part of Dade County and the incorporated areas of Dade County. And this will be resolution R21-24. And that will set our millage rate. We will actually be lowering it to 7.75 from 8. Any discussion on that? I know we've been working on it for a long time here, so I will entertain a motion pertaining to that. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the lowering of the millage rate to 7.750.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, second, call vote. Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mrs. Bradford?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, that passes. Okay, number 2, this is resolution R-22-24. This is considering for approval, the collection of taxes generated from the school district's 2024 millage rate as set by the Dade County Board of Education. And what we're voting on here is just agreeing to collect that money for them, or for the tax commissioner to collect it. Do I hear a motion pertaining to that?
They're here.
They're here to
Oh, I thought we did. Well, get in here. Where you been? Okay, all right. That's right. We need to know what your millage rate is. Now, we're not agreeing or disagreeing with it, because we can't change your millage rate. All we vote, and you know this, we're voting strictly when we vote.
To collect tax.
To collect it, for you, yeah.
All right, dear Mr. Rumley and fellow commissioners, I've enclosed the Dade County Board of Education's resolution to set the 2024 millage rate, the computation of the millage rate rollback, the required advertisements, and the 5-year history. The following information is provided to you for preparation of the 2024 property tax bills. Millage rate at 14.000. Taxes levied $8,005,034. Less 2.5% of the commission for Dade County Governing Authority in the amount of $200,126. And total collection for the Board of Education, $7,804,908. These figures are based on the final 2024 maintenance and operations digest.
Okay. Any questions for Josh from the commissioner?
I think you did a good job with our school system.
All right. If there is none, I will open up, ask for a, if there's not any discussion between the commission, this is still our resolution R-22-24, as I read. Do I have a motion pertaining to this?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a second, motion and a second. Call a vote. Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Ms. Bradford?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay. Okay, Don, is there anything else that we need to? Okay, Robin, you got anything? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion.
Make a motion, adjourn.
Have a second.
Second.
Call a vote. Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Bradford?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Okay. Thank you all for attending.